FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
Now, the auto industry is in dire trouble, and I thought about the auto industry. How could it possibly be Googley? Let me start here. Every time I get in my car, every single time I curse because there isn't a simple little 39-cent plug to plug in my iPhone and iPod, right? If car companies had had the means to listen to us years ago, we all would have told them, would you just put a little plug in there? Instead, I put in this horrible kludge through the cassette and this transmitter, and it doesn't work. It's awful. They couldn't hear us because they didn't set up a structure to listen. So it's heretical to say this, but I wonder whether we shouldn't open up the design process of automobiles. But that's heresy, because isn't secrecy their special sauce? Right? We have all the experts again. We work really hard. We spend years. We design this car. We deliver it. It's perfect. But remember Google and betas. Google says we're not perfect. So if auto companies opened up that process, what could happen? So go a step farther. What if I could get a car that was unpainted? And I had a student last term who was a graffiti artist. And if I could take my car to him and say, Kahil, why don't you paint my car? Make it like no other car in the world. Make it my car. When I go down the street, people will say, crap, where did he get that car? Wouldn't that be great? Now go the next step. What if you open it up a little bit more and I can put in my own seats because I can find more comfortable seats somewhere else, or my own dash? Yeah. What else? What else do you want in cars? Anybody else? We'll get to that in a second. Restaurants.
Unfinished brakes?
Unfinished brakes. I don't want beta brakes, no.
I want an override to the electric windows.
Or maybe you don't even want the electric window. You want it so you can save energy and all that, right? Maybe you save some money on the car. There's all kinds of things that we could do. So imagine that I could get my own seats, my own stuff. Now Detroit might look at that as insane because it makes things more expensive. But it gives me a car that's mine, not somebody else's. Right? You have your desires for what you want in your own car. And if you think about the open source car, there are efforts to create open source cars now, but they're very small and they can't reach scale easily. Well, Detroit is already at scale. If they came out with the API for the car, what could people build on top of it? So I went to a venture capitalist named Fred Wilson and I said, what do you think the Googley car company is? And he said, it already exists, Jeff. It's Zipcar. You all know Zipcar, right? And Zipcar exists to get us around, and Zipcar actually exists to have us buy fewer cars, which sounds like an insane definition of a cure for the car company problems. But not if a car company thinks that it's only in the manufacturing business. Maybe it's in a different business. So I went to another guy named Rashad Tabakawala, who's an ad industry visionary. And I said, what do you think the Googley car company is? And Rashad said, he tried to channel it. And he said, if I'm the Googley car company, I'm not in the manufacturing business. I'm in the business of getting you from point A to point B and entertaining you along the way. And that's what I do. So if you imagine that, maybe a Googley car company doesn't make cars, but maybe it gets us from place A to place B using others' equipment, others' cars, trains, and automobiles. Today, I want to go back to San Francisco tonight. I can call up a number and get a train reservation or find out when the schedule is. Tomorrow, I can get a car because I want to drive to an odd place. The next day, I want to take my wife to a nice dinner. I'll get a Beamer. The next day, I've got to go to IKEA and I'll get a little truck. Right? Why should I have the same car all the time? Maybe a car company's in a different business. Maybe.